G'day guys, Chronicles of Solid here, and welcome back to another episode of Adventure News, where we talk the latest, the greatest, and today the saddest adventure and dual sport stories. I say sad because the WR250R has been discontinued. Yes, you heard that right, Japan have killed the WR250R. So today's episode is going to be talking about why that happened and what that means. So let's get into the video. Yamaha has officially discontinued the WR250R and the X. Yamaha Japan have taken it out the back of the shed and clubbed the poor little bugger over the back of the head. It's very sad to see such a capable little 250 be discontinued, one that was quite a unique anomaly in the small displacement segment. What made it great, you might ask? Well, for one, it was built in Japan, something that's not so common these days. It was bulletproof, has long service intervals, and the specs were not too shabby for a 250. I love mine as a mini adventure bike. It does single track all the way to massive multi-day adventures, and all with ease. So why is it getting discontinued? Well, the short answer is poor sales and the Euro 4 emission standards. Yamaha would have to sink more R&D into getting the WR to comply with the new regulations, a task deemed too expensive to be worth the effort. This brings us to the long answer of why it got discontinued. The sad fact is that it was priced poorly for the category. Too expensive for the budget end of the spectrum, with the CRF 250L offering much better value for the budget conscious, and it was too close to the Enduros in the next segment above. Many not seeing the sense in coughing up the extra money for the WR, when for a little extra a KTM or a Husky made much better sense, especially for the performance orientated. The other problem was its displacement. It's limited by the 250cc motor. It's a really good motor, but it's still a 250, which is just not enough poke for most punters out there. But before those of you who bleed blue give up all hope and give in to despair, there are a few strong possibilities for the future. The first option is the saddest of the bunch, and that's that the WR is dead and it's never coming back. Some of you are probably running around screaming and pulling your hair out in despair after months of internet analysis. Or maybe you're an owner who is now running down to Yamaha to buy every part in stock like some kind of Yamapocalypse. Well, to ease your concerns a little bit, the Yamaha was never a big seller, as I said before, so they're likely to have stock for quite some time. Also, Yamaha have a pretty good track record for supplying parts for bikes that are no longer in production. The second scenario is that Yamaha have ceased production in order to develop a new 250R, choosing to update the design and the emission system. It is a possibility, but a slim one at best. And a new WR could be a blessing or a curse. And I say that because production in Japan is getting very rare, unless you're getting a flagship big bucks bike. Most manufacturers now have plants in various countries in or around Asia, and that's to cut down on manufacturing costs and import costs. This often means that the bikes are cheaper for us buyers, but it also means that quality is not quite the same, and you can often see that in the weight of a bike and the suspension quality. If Yamaha were to refresh the WR250R, I can see the temptation to move production to Asia to be too big to pass up for the CEOs. And we might see something more like a WR250L rather than something that we get at the moment, which is a 250R. Something with a little lower specs that they can sell at a cheaper price to better compete with the CRF 250L. The third option is my favourite, but probably the least likely to happen, and that's that we could see Yamaha make the first modern move to the bigger displacement around the 300 to 500cc range, that WR250R unicorn that we all keep asking for. And yes, I can hear DRZ 400 owners furiously typing at me, but I did say modern. Most criticisms of the WR250R usually boil down to the power. As good as it is for a 250, it's still a 250. And yes, there are big bore options out there like the Athena kit, but most people, including myself, just want to ride out of the showroom floor with the power I need and a warranty in my hand. So how likely are we to see a unicorn WR250R? I'd say not very likely. I'd like to file it under what I call the Gandalf clause, and that's that Gandalf in Lord of the Rings was asked if there's any hope, and his reply, there never was much hope, just a fool's hope. I'd say if we're going to see any new innovation in the near future, it's probably going to be in the guise of a mini Tenere rather than a WR300 to 500cc bike. So this fool is telling you that while the WR250R may be gone, it will never be forgotten, and to always hope for the best but expect the worst. So that's the end of this episode of Adventure News. A little bit of a sad story with the discontinuation of the WR250R, but there's always hope around the corner for something new and something fresh, so I'll keep my ear to the ground. And until then, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I've been Chronicles of Solid, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Catch you later.